Eles vão falar assim.
Obrigado.
Ok. Bem-vindos e bem-vindas. Estamos aqui na segunda sessão dessa segunda jornada do nosso simpósio internacional de educação musical do PPGMus, da UFRN. E o nosso primeiro trabalho que vai ser apresentado pelo companheiro Ricardo Silva, orientando da professora doutora Nair Pires. E na nossa linha de pesquisa número 1, processo de dimensão e informação da formação em música, o título em inglês é Deconstruction of Professional Ethical Awareness, Teacher Training for Undergraduate Music Education Students Participating in Supervised Internship 3 at Secondary Schools. The discussant is Professor Victor Fong.
So, good evening. Before I begin, I would like to apologize for my lack of fluency in English. For this reason, I prepared a spoken script in this presentation. My name is Ramon Pinheiro. I have just started my master's degree, and my advisor is Professor Pires. I would like to take this opportunity to present a brief overview of the work will be developed. I will therefore present several elements that are currently under discussion upon my research. The thematic focus of my research is professional ethics in the teacher training of music licensed students at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte, UFRN, who are participating in supervising leadership 3 at the school levels, especially middle school. First, I would like to begin by addressing how I related to this topic. During my undergraduate studies in music at the Federal University of POE, UFPI, I always had an interest in examining the work of the music teacher in schools, above the elementary and secondary levels. Here in Brazil, we refer to these levels collectively as basic education. I participated in a training program called the Pedagogical Residency Program, which greatly broadened my understanding of the complexity of working in schools. That experience also revealed how important the teacher's role in the students' human development. Having worked in school through this 1.5 year program, I witnessed numerous dilemmas, such as issues related to curriculum, statement inclusion, classroom management, and school policy, and came to appreciate how crucial the teachers function in their lives in their students. So, in this regard, since my undergraduate studies, I have been regarded as important to examine teacher education. It is necessary to understand what is to know how to be and to act in the teaching profession. It is also essential to comprehend the social function of the teacher at school, a teacher profession. This is because the teacher's practice constantly involves social interactions and cultural expressions. Therefore, it is essential to consider a space and time designed to develop undergraduate students teaching practice. Thus, in the context of the music licensure program at UFRN, we have the supervisor leadership 3 discipline, which is directed toward practicing basic education as setting, elementary and secondary levels. In other words, this discipline addresses the discussion what music of what music teaching in schools is or should be. Since the teachers engage in educational activity and interacting with the instructors, the shape teaching, such as legislation, institutions, and the curriculum, questions of sociability arise, and consequently, the interest of continuation is present. In this regard, it is worth highlighting what Marcelo Caetano say. Uh, Ethics, by permeate toward of teaching work, not only enables the professional to develop a critical spirit concerning right thinking, right feeling, and right action, but also fosters discernment oriented toward the construction of common sense within institutions, schools, and the like. So based on the above and the additional guidance provided by my advisor, I currently have the following research question. How is this professional efforts constructing the training of music education undergraduates, UFRN, who are engaged in the context of supervised leadership in middle school? Thus, my general objective is to understand how professional ethics is constructed in the training of music education graduates, UFRN, who are engaged in the context of supervising the shift in mirrors. So far, I propose the following specific objectives to achieve the overall objective. First, to analyze how the activities developed in the supervised leadership free of the music education graduate program at UFRN are carried out. To examine which formative process within the supervised leadership relate to ethical aspects of the teacher profession. Um, uh, Então, for now, I have these two specific objectives that are all able to write, but I know it's just better to develop after. This is because as I have just started the master's program, my work is on the so far my literature review, which is so far my literature review, which is still progress, has shown me that there is a lack of students addressing the ethical dimension in the training of music teachers, especially those preparing to work in neuro high school. High school. Uh, Most of the publications I have found professional aspects in teacher education are concentrate the field of education in general. When we search with the field of music education, there are very few results. There are very few results. In our academic journal, the Brazilian Association Music Education, ABEM, I have found so far only two works directly related to professional ethics in teacher education for music educators. One of them is a paper by Pinocchio, which is an essay on music teacher education. It highlights issues related to ethical and human development, in human challenges in personal and professional development. Another work was written by my own advisor, with, uh, in which she, through research involving the PIBID music program, seeks to discuss the types of knowledge that emerge from relationships between the university and the school, particularly ethical knowledge. Uh, PID is a government-funded scholarship program that promotes early teacher experience for undergraduate students. On the other hand, ministers from the broader field of education, we find more results in the main discussions, such as those presented by some of the authors here, tend to revolve around ethics in the teaching and learning process, ethical professional reflection, ethics and professional conscience, ethical thinking, and ethical dilemmas in professional teacher training. Uh, I would also like to outline some points that in this early stage of guidance have already been discussed with my advisor. One of those points involves the steps I will take in developing the theoretical framework. According to my advisor, it is necessary to follow a narrow path in order to address my topic properly. So first, so first I will to the concepts of ethics, ethics in general sense. And next, I will explore professional ethics, uh, ethics within the context of profession. Uh, and finally, with the greatest specificity, I will focus on professional teaching ethics, which is refers to professional ethics within the context of the teacher training. This make here just illustrates the path more clear, moving ethics, professional and professional teaching ethics. For my theoretical work, I have in mind to study some things like Escudero, uh, Lobo Vasquez, Teresa Hughes, Paulo Freire, and Paul. For the further remarks of this presentation, is worth noting that given the qualitative approach of this story, we would like to employ document and analysis related to supervising the free, classroom observations, and focus group as data collection instruments. This work will be particularly important because, as noted early, there are relatively few stories in music education that address professional ethics in teacher training. Even though dealing with teaching, curriculum assessment, class management, interpersonal relations, and similar topics directly involves in ethical automation. These are some of the points my research in development. Uh, as I am just beginning the master's program, I believe that further real and ongoing discussions with my advisor and you um, allow me to arrive at more precise definitions for my study. And these are my references. Okay.
So, Professor Victor, please.
Great, thank you, Ramon, for a very well organized presentation, and you have done a lot of ground, in terms of how you formulate this idea and then the literature review, and you found quite a few framework that you can refer to So this is all excellent. And I think towards the end of your presentation, you mentioned that the methodology is kind of starting. So that's good because you have to have done the groundwork, then you start to think about the methodology rather than thinking about methodology first and then you go back to the framework. So the process that you have gone through is proper and correct. So I have to commend you on those.
Ok, então ele está fazendo, os parabenizando, né, para o bom trabalho, né, e ele está dizendo que, entre outras coisas, né, é muito bom que o fato que a metodologia está só começando, como você disse, porque você, pelo menos, botou já as bases do seu da sua, digamos, da sua fundamentação teórica, que é a coisa mais importante. E eu estou bastante de acordo com isso.
And then I'd like to comment on, maybe give you some suggestions on the methodology, because based on your introduction, you are interested in the construction of the professional ethics, right? So that can be a tricky part to collect that, because first, how do you know there is professional ethics established? That's one thing. And then another thing is how you know that is being constructed. So I think you mentioned observation. I think observation certainly can be done, but when you only rely on observation, you cannot really tell whether they have constructed the professional ethics. So I think maybe to make a couple of suggestions for you to consider. One is reflective journal. Do you know what reflective journal is?
Então, você estava dizendo, ele dá algumas sugestões, né? Algumas sugestões. Ele estava dizendo que você queria observar como essa ética profissional é construída. Exatamente. Ele diz que isso pode ser problemático, porque, primeiramente, tem a parte da observação e ver como essa base ética é estabelecida. E, secundariamente, né, a partir da observação, pode ser problemático definir se isso é construído de fato. E ele estava propondo que você usasse um diário reflexivo, ou de reflexões, né? E estava perguntando também se você sabe o que é esse diário, né? Esse diário de reflexão.
Se eu pode trazer assim, um dos dispositivos, né, que a orientadora coloca, né, são, por exemplo, pautas de dados, que é justamente, no caso, uma aplicabilidade que quem está no estado pode fazer durante essas atuações, né, como gestão de sala, gestão em relação a currículos, mais avaliação, né, da prática dessas questões.
Essas são coisas? O quê? Qual a palavra que você
Pautas de dados. Pautas de dados. Dispositivo, né? Que conversa até a nossa impressão que poderia também ser uma pesquisação do meu trabalho. Assim. Aí, em relação à observação, realmente essa de como é que eu vou chegar, como é construído. Talvez se pensar também que aqueles entendem por ética profissional, os próprios estudantes também possam ir por esse caminho. Sabe?
Então, as investigation tool, like he wanted, he was planning to use didactic agendas, education agendas, isn't it? And in order to see how this is constructed, you wanted to look at what do they think education is in their ideas, and this was you wanted to achieve this through interviews and observation, isn't it? Yeah, and he also wanted to look at research, action as research, pesquisação. So this is a kind of methodology.
Yeah, this is very good because action research has to do with reflecting on what you see, what you have done. And I still would recommend the reflective journal because this is regular, maybe every few days or every week. The student would reflect on what they think and what have happened. And it's almost like a mini interview, but at a regular time. Because interview, maybe you can do once, twice, or maybe at the most every week, but the interview is something that you prompt them. But the reflective journal is they self-initiate what they think because how they construct the professional ethics is very internalized. You cannot look at them and be able to tell. They have to verbalize. They have to tell you what they think. So in order to collect that data, the more different ways they can tell you, through interview is good. Also, through reflective journal, they write. So they tell and they write. Because when they write down things, they are more reflective. When they tell you, it's just at the moment when you ask that question, they respond right away. But the reflective journal, why it is called reflective journal is they have the opportunity to reflect before they write down and give it to you. So it usually reflective journal involve more deeper thinking. Yeah.
Você entendeu? Mas traduzir, ele está recomendando o fato da pesquisação, de fato, mas ele está continuando a, digamos, a recomendar também a questão do diário reflexivo, né? Porque, de fato...
concreto, eu posso analisar.
Exatamente, mas também ele diz que a frequência com que você pode refletir nisso e anotar coisas é maior, né? Enquanto é pontual, né? E acho que isso de fato é...
Yeah, another thing is about your mentioning of deductive approach. In most qualitative research, we typically want to see both inductive and deductive. Because deductive is ahead of time, like from the literature, you have a framework. But inductive is you're open to any possibility, anything that you didn't think about. Maybe even the framework has not suggested some elements. So that's why we need to have the inductive. You're open to any idea that the students would mention to you. So in other words, my suggestion is also pay attention to inductive while you are doing deductive.
Então, ao longo de um método dedutivo em que você pega o que está observando, ele estava propondo também que você utilizar um método indutivo, em que você é aberto a dar sugestões também dos estudantes e dos alunos, porque ele permite de abrir também as possibilidades dentro dos resultados da coisa que você vai achar, né?
Well, I wish you the very best in conducting this research.
Ele tipo, te desejo o melhor, né, nessa pesquisa.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
So, thank you so much. And then next in the line is Ana Clara da Silva Ponciano. The person, no. Next is Pamela Garneiro, Mariana Araújo, Everton Santos. So supervised by Professor Mario Andrea Vanderlei Oliveira from the PPGMus research group. So their research is about agribusiness, education, and culture, the sector's investment in Brazil, and their implication of world music education, and with Professor Victor Fang as the discussant.
Gratitude to Professor Mustafa and Reverend Brett. Gratitude Professor Mustafa and everyone present. My name is Lucas. I am a student and music at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte. I don't like English. I don't know speak it. The truth is, I am making the effort to speak English as a written speech because every pro acts like English for political and personal reasons. I recognize that it is important to create a valuable opportunity for exchanging knowledge. The title of the study is Agribusiness Education and Culture, the sector and investment on Brazil on the application for music education. The author Mário André, Alan Romeu Peras, Ana Clara da Silva Luciano, Ai Everton Lucas da Oliveira Lima Santos, Tamir Piano Silva, Pamela Carneiro Silva, however, only Pamela, Mariana, and I will present at this seminar. Now I will give myself a description from and visualize for the people who may be watching. I advise Professor Whitford, but are you the para português? Sou um homem de cabelos longos, uso óculos, tenho uma camisa vermelha, hum, tenho uma pele parda e sou uma pessoa alta. Estou sentado no meu auditório. Next, please. Ah, the rise of reviews and research that has contributed not only Brazilian economic structure, but also its political, cultural, and now educational fields. This special is not beauty or agricultural production. It is also beauty on the production of favorable symbolic narratives aimed at sacred hegemony to attract these agribusiness investments and exercise a cultural education project and a legislative initiative. Before his rest, uh, Rich is still at stage. A proposed to investigate is identify the main factors of the reduces presence and the culture and the education sphere. Um, and the indicator of the strategy for music education and brass. We represent a literature behavior in the end of identify the main factors of reproducing presence and the cultural sphere and education. Uh, adverse slide, please. We draw our students that explore the sector symbolic activity. It's expected on Brazil music and the critical analysis of the business at true for theological visibility of the agro. These are additional three are initial reflection from umbrella research groups. Okay, the music research group at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte. So, Mariana will continue with the methodology.
Good afternoon. Hi, I'm glad to meet you all. My name is Mariana. I'm part of Rooms, and I am an undergraduate student of music. music. And I describe myself black woman. I have a black hair. I'm wearing a gray shirt, and um, I'll talk about methodology and the research use a quantitative approach that is seeks to interpret meanings and contexts. The focus, the focus is on critically analyzing the discursive and symbolic strategies used by agribusiness in the fields of culture and education. We present all the bibliography review. However, the broader research considers three main types of materials: music videos of agronesia, songs widely disseminated on all platforms, supplementary educational materials used in support of school activities, institutional documents linked to agricultural sector, and these materials will be examined using content analysis. Um, the categories of analysis will be developed from the existing literature on the topic. Um, Attention will be given to recurring themes, symbols, and strategies that to naturalize and positive image, image of every business. The goal is understand how this contributes to building meanings about the countryside, music, and education, as well as to reflect on the possible impacts on the training of music students and teachers. Um, Pablo, continue.
Good evening. My name is Pamela. I'm an undergraduate in music here in the School of Music of UFRN. I'm part of the groups. And what does literature go to us? Uh, there's phrases commonly spoken in Brazil, such as, in quote, agribusiness is the engine of the economy, and agribusiness carried Brazil on its back. The agribusiness claims to be responsible for generating profit through exports and for feeding both Brazil and other countries. However, this idea has several historical and social and environmental problems. Critical research shows that this good image of agribusiness is built through using symbols. And to achieve this, it has been investing in cultural productions, advertising campaigns, and education. One culture strategy has been invested is the agronesia. Agronesia is a musical genre, uh, came from circulation universitario. It's a kind of a country music. We call country university country music, but university is not literary. It's just the word. This style celebrates agribusiness. Lyrics that values such as productivity, pure individual efforts, rural entrepreneurship, pride of country. These values are part of neoliberal thoughts and the modernization discourse promoted by this. The songs offer mission, tractor, harvests, automated farms, and heavily emphasize the power of agribusiness as the engine of the economy. Martins and Teixeira analyzed 7 songs released between 2020 and 2022, and the music videos from the songs have 10 million of views. In them, agribusiness is exalted without criticism. The lyric uh, conceals land conflict and historical inequalities, portray the use of pesticides positively, and claims that agribusiness is the backbone of Brazil's GDP. However, studies show that agribusiness contributes much less to GDP compared to service and industrial sectors. This song promoted through sponsored live streams, agriculture fairs, roads, YouTube broadcasts, and even institutional campaigns. For marketing Teixeira, agromanagement functions as a form of propaganda, reinforcing the sector power while, while spreading ideas through culture. The authors also points that agromanagement represents the organized action of several groups: artists, culture producers, international corporations, advertising agencies, digital medias, and politicians from the parliamentary agriculture front. Currently, in Brazil politics, there are 245 federal deputies and 39 senators who defend the interests of agribusiness. This is a phenomenon that must be understood in all its cultural, aesthetic, and ideological complexity. Agribusiness is also present in education. Its ideal already creates young people daily lives and pose major challenges for critical education, as well as the training of teachers who fight for social justice, diversity, and critical thinking. Various initiatives, various initiatives attempt to influence the thoughts in schools, shaping teachers' education and pedagogical approaches. Their goals is to present only a positive, ide- ideal- idealized view of the agriculture sector. They carry out interventions in basic education, which help create a good image of agribusiness, something that also affects music education. This is a data of the composition of Brazilian gross domestic product, the GDP, that I said before. Only 8% is from agribusiness. We can see 24% is industry and 68% is service. This is data we got. About the education. Some authors talk about a program it's called Agri program. It's like a lead blog, and it shows how agribusiness seeks to promote a political and economic project, and it presents itself as a program of citizenship and sustainability. From a high perspective, we can see it is ideal. Uh, some other authors point out that program materials do not address the land conflicts, avoid discussing land ownership issues, and make no mention of family farming of the traditional people of Brazil. This program has already reached more than 3.7 million young people across different Brazilian states. In addition to its school content, it offered teachers training and awards for drawing, essays, and even song lyrics. In this way, Agrinho is already present in many schools. In frames the business in terms of civic and environment values, use playful and emotional strategies to create consensus and shape the education of students and teachers. Another program is with the eye on school supplies campaign. also keep an eye on school material, was launched 2021 by a group called Mother of Agribusiness. This group is connected to an organization such as the Brazilian Rural Society and the Parliamentary Agriculture Front. And this campaign mobilized families to monitor textbooks and school materials, searching for criticism and distortions against agribusiness. Some researchers have studied this campaign, like Nanini and Marcuso in 2021, and they show that it seeks to reveal schools' content and influence teachers' stance on agribusiness. And according to them, the campaign combined threats of coercion and persuasion to construct very positive image of the sector. And this undermines teachers' autonomy and students' ability to develop critical thinking. Reports such as Reporter Brazil further reveal that campaigns is financial by agribusiness campaign and led by people connected to the pesticide industry. And this report shows that there is a big interest in changing education materials to hide problems such as Amazon deforestation caused by cattle ranching that it is a fact already proved by several studies. This type of symbolic action uh, threatens cultural diversity and reduced to a single one perspective. It erases more sustainable ways of life and disregard indigenous Quilombola and some communities. This is a event. It's called Investor of Agribusiness 2. It happens in 2021. Was a live stream featuring the singer Gustavo Lima. And this event took place during the pandemic, bringing together 500 people without the use of masks. And this is the ABI program. Was a ceremony. Um, they distribute 904 awards to students, teachers, and schools, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, multimedia projectors, and even cars. Some photos. They say new, encouraging dreams and generations. And this was the card that they were given. Another 896 awards delivered to the state in regional education centers. In total, almost 1,500 prizes were awarded to students and teachers from the school system. Um, so, uh, given this scenario, music education must ask itself, which kind of music are valued within schools? Which repertoires are highlighted in public and private projects? In what ways do agribusiness discourses reach directly or indirectly pedagogical music practice? Our reflection is how agribusiness operates in the education culture in Brazil, and what the consequences are for music education. Beyond economic and political power, the sector invests heavily in persuasion strategies, and music is used as a powerful cultural tool. Therefore, music education must engage a critical and contextualized listening. This means not only teaching music is technical in some aspects, but also reflecting as a relationship with narrative and value repertoires that Brazil express in culture diversity. And more than ever, music education must connect to a critical pedagogy, helping students and teachers reflect how dominant discourse shape taste, feelings, and worldviews. Yes, I talk about it already. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for another intriguing topic and amazing presentation. And I appreciate all the details that you provided and also the work that you have done so far. That's very good. And I have to thank you for introducing me a new term, a new concept, agribusiness. I've never seen that before. So I think, is that a special term in Brazil, or is that a term that you found from the literature? Agribusiness.
Yeah,
Common here?
it's common here.
Oh, okay. I learned something new about Brazil. It's a very important topic, the way I understand from your presentation. So this is everything I know about agribusiness is from your presentation. So that is a very important topic. And as I hear your presentation, the question comes to mind. Two questions. One is, what exactly is agribusiness? Because it's so localized in Brazil, because I'm not from Brazil, so I don't know what it is. So it would be helpful if you can give a clear definition early on. Yeah, like for someone like me from outside of Brazil, I don't know what agribusiness is. So if you can define clearly what it is at the beginning or early stage, then it will help me to understand earlier or easier. I figured it out later because heard you talk about how it's related to people's lives and how important it is. And oh, that's agribusiness. So that's something good to do, is to define earlier, especially if you are trying to speak to an international audience. Yeah, people probably don't know unless they are from Brazil. That's one thing. Another question I have as I get through your presentation is, how is agribusiness connected to music education? That also, I didn't figure it out until towards the end. Yeah, so I think throughout the presentation, maybe if you write out as a paper, you can hint more at the early part of the paper so people can see the connection. Because maybe the first two-thirds of the presentation, I didn't hear the word music at all. The word music didn't appear. So I keep asking, where's the music? Where's music education? So I think that connection needs to be there, maybe earlier or throughout the paper. And then at the end, once I understand, I hope I understand correctly, that how you try to connect agribusiness and music education, then I would suggest, I don't know whether this is in the definition of agribusiness or something that I come from outside suggest to you, is to think about musical instruments. Because musical instruments are made with materials, whether the drums made from wood and animal skin, and those are about agriculture too. Like any instrument that is made of wood, bamboo, or any kind of plant, even those kind of things, maybe you can insert to your consideration, and how the musical instrument itself is related to our business. Am I correct, or am I gone too far, stretching too much?
I don't know if the instrument is related.
Oh, okay.
Mas, não sei se eu tenho uma coisa. Essas pessoas falam uma coisa errada. Falou de relacionar instrumentos musicais feitos de bambu, materiais naturais, com o agronegócio. Eu acho que isso não tem a ver com a pesquisa.
Mas o pensamento, a prática dessa verdade, que o novo formato, então, textos, música, desenhos.
Isso é um negócio que o sistema maior dá ser importante controle em outras subcategorias, como o agrinho e como materiais que a escola está para também no que é no final da sala de aula. Agro, agrobusiness, né?
Spark the Craft,
Vocês querem que eu...
por favor.
Desculpa, né? Eu estava pensando.
Eu não entendi nada disso.
So they look much more at how a great business is creating these courses that are then kind of appropriated by music education of some educators in some schools, and then this is kind of potentializing a discourse that kind of first of all kind of promotes agribusiness, and secondly kind of makes it look as if it's not doing any harm. It's kind of condoning it in a way. So like that's the idea. And is there anything else? And like they are looking at events and places where these teachers that promote this kind of curricula, where kind of basically everything that's basically massive agriculture is kind of promoted and given to children as, you know, like that's the way forward, you know, like and so they're giving money and cars and prizes to this so this is much more kind of critical research on how agribusinesses are kind of propaganda discourses kind of now polluting in a way kind of even the kind of field of music education in a way. So people like kind of likely to kind of enter this propaganda in the classroom and also yes, even like teaching these children like musics, like songs that basically sing about these topics, like so saying, oh, you know, like how great is like tractors and you know, like massive agriculture, industrial kind of agriculture, and they kind of overlook all the destruction of the Amazon forest that is involved in this. So it's basically they're looking at how political propaganda, kind of some neoliberalist kind of principles, like kind of enter and invade the classroom, and specifically music education.
Você poderia explicar aí que é agronegócio, agrobusiness? Dizer que seria um mercado voltado à produção.
Desculpa, né? Porque para nós aqui é uma questão tão naturalizada. So he wanted to say basically, Everton wanted to say basically that the agribusiness is something so naturalized for Brazil because of the socio-economic, geopolitical role of Brazil. So it's producing crops that basically go outside of Brazil, basically for export. And so it's kind of privileging massive mass agriculture, kind of industrial agriculture, that is basically overlooking all the other traditions that kind of on which Brazilian historical agriculture is predicated. So like basically indigenous traditional agriculture, and basically it's all massified and kind of monoculture. So like it's one big type of crops. Like we all eat the same crop in the northeast, in the south, and we eat the same crops basically. So that's agribusiness against traditional or family agriculture. You were saying family agriculture.
Yeah. Thank you for all this explanation and clarification that helped me to understand better. And it seems like this is a difficult position that maybe a group of music educators like you are aware of and trying to work against this wave of agribusiness. And it's not so easy because economy is involved. Whoever has the money can promote, and they have to have the authority or power to overcome, or to dominate people's mind in the media and a lot of things like that. So I think it's still a very worthy effort to make music educators maybe awakening music educators to say, hey, this is not all the whole picture. This is just part of the story, and we need to look at the other side as well. So I think maybe to balance out the different viewpoints, people like you and maybe others too needs uh, to maybe suggest another discourse, maybe a more naturalistic and the environmental, and maybe not so emphasized so much on the economy. People's life is not just about making money or being doing well financially, but also human values, culture and traditions and the natural environment. There should be quite a few different angles you can attack or tackle, not attack, tackle this. Yeah. So it's a very challenging topic, and I commend you for the effort and trying to clarify, and hopefully it can expand, and more people can be aware of this movement. Is this just recently, or it has been for a long time like this?
Esse fenômeno é recente ou é uma coisa de longo prazo? So you're asking about the research or the phenomenon?
The phenomenon of agribusiness.
Since Brazil, since
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But this,
Brasil existe. Nossa história foi construída em cima dessas estruturas.
Yeah, I think it seems to me that it is tied to politics too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it depends on the value of the people who are in control. What people value. Do they value the economy, or do they value human values? That is can be very sensitive and difficult to work against. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate your work.
okay, so the, the next one is Clara, isn't it? It's okay. So next one in the line is Ana Clara da Silva Ponciano. So she's supervised by Professor Mario Andrea Vanderlei Oliveira from our first line of research, which is processes and dimensions of formation in music. So she's talking about peripheral youth, territory, and hip hop in Natal, a study on the formative musical dimension of the Battaglia da Nova. And Professor Victor Fang is our discussant.
do the afternoon, good night, vou apresentar em inglês, mas espero que você apresentar assim, seja em português. My name is Ana Clara, Silva Ponciano. I'm a student in the postgraduate music programa de pós-graduação em música da UFRN, onde esse professor Maré. My work is titled My Peripheral Territory in Hip Hop in Natal, and study of the formative musical dimension of the Bachata movement. This possesses a systematic field, the formative musical dimension of hip hop, its relationship with peripheral fields, more precisely in the context of Batalha do Nova, which takes place in Nova Natal Square in the northeast Natal, Brazil, in order to understand the engagement of young people in their territories through the hip hop movement. My motivations from the theme in my monography, uh, understanding the collaboration account to investigate aspects of education through behavior. And my trajectory is a peripheral student. Has this general objective to investigate the formative musical dimension of the Batalha de Nova in the city of Natal, Brazil, from the perspective of three young people inserted in this context. And I bring us the bibliographic review, the discussion of the hip hop movement and happy babies. Uh, the hip hop movement and happy babies, and the origins of the movement in Estados Unidos, recursos, exchanges, opção, the area of the movement in Brazil, dos vários moleques, rap in the anos 90, 1990, and the rap battles in Brazil. And the perspective of the hip hop movement is a broad cultural manifestation. E a concepção do hip hop na literatura, né? Literatura acadêmica científica, de otras áreas, hip hop, pedagogy, and the art education, engage, rap, territories, hip hop in non-formal education spaces, hip hop in the genre, of music, the music of the music education and music spaces, hip hop is school, hip hop in the African historic identity, DJs musical practice, production of locations, hip hop activism, and the education of young black people from the periphery. And the conception of youth from plurality and the intersectionality. Youth more than a word, and youth in academic, scientific, music, literature, and intersectionality. On theory, proposals and contributions, the music patrons, the Ruth Flanagan and Margaret Atwood, the music have their own conventions supported by extreme practices and ideas about the high way in which music should be performed. Musical patrons devem associar o conhecimento by stylistic singularities, values, shared practice, but which interact with other musical worlds, promoting the integration of their own practices as well as order of social difference. And music, no question small. Music would be the act of making music that presupposes a set of relationships in a place where the couples or and the collaborators the perspective of making music with everyday action. With attention to the music is not a thing out but an activity. Through which local swings, meanings, and rules are established. Uh, da cons- Entendendo, understanding and the contributions from books um, para critical reason, hip hop from my intersectional perspective, and Brazilian hip hop mainstream, methodological, patriarchal standard, and racialist stereotypes, and other contributions to think about music, Black, Bozon, Taylors. And understanding the value of women is a cognitive territory, and musical practice, sociability, criticism of structures of domination. And, uh, as methodology from this research, qualitative approach, ethnography case study, street ethnography, um, data production and collection tools and techniques, documentary beyond social media, uh, participate, observation, field guide, photographic records, semi-structured interviews, and ethical factors of research. And characterization of the empirical field. The old streets of Natal, periferia, um, the hygienist perspective of the city, elitist urban planning, irregular housing from the city center, and 19% da população lives em favelas. E Nova Natal, housing complex located in the Lagoa Azul, neighborhood, north zone of Natal, Brazil. And help movement in Natal, uh, articulation of autonomous collectives, projects with cultural incentive laws, working schools, behavioral cooperative, and national projection. And Batalha do Nova, é, é, uma palavra de ordem. Tem uma palavra de ordem. Então, somos alunos da quebrada e a revigora. Onde vocês estão, batalha de novo. Pega a negatividade, segura e joga para fora. Onde vocês estão, batalha de novo. We are the light of the book and the leaders aways, inspirations. We are in battle of Nova. Where the negativity, how they can throw it use. We are your battle of Nova.
Em inglês, moto. Nossa.
Batalha Nova Foundation em 2021. Bi-weekly editions on Friday evenings in Praça do Novo Natal. And the observations began in August 2020. The characterization of participants, three interlocutors, the trajectories, highlights, the formative power of freestyle battles, the Batalha Nova, for three contributions to their musical and socio-political development through the emerging and placing remains and produced expression expressive and subjectivity is formed. And the three interlocutors, Fernanda, a young white cis woman, Beth was Fefe, a single mother of two children, a housewife, organizer and spectator of the battle. And Freezy, a 20-year-old black man, artist, Islamic, battle MC, cultural productions, organizer of battles and happy events in elementary schools. And MC, a 24 years old black man, resident of the Jardim Progresso complex, and the Nossa Senhora da Apresentação, neighborhood, north zone of the city, main organizer of the battle. And its results, I have five categories, and one debate as a school of music and social political formation. Understanding the hip hop movement brings strong elements of critical dimension, engagement, and social activism. Freezing reports that his experience in battle contributed to his knowledge of the world. I started to become very interested in studying different contexts. At first, with the intention of building and better, but then it just became an habit for me. Uh, the chance of for me more MCs, more MCs is very big. É muito grande para a formação de MCs. It contributes to the musical development of MCs. MCs are artists know in general with the audience of the MC having there's about to learning about musicality, you know, about varying flows, about methods, about constructing and their being in the MC makes my composition process easy. In the practice, the MCs develop. I precisely through the practice battles happen weekly, and they train precisely to issue of metric flow and Praça Nova as a significant space. Um, Batalha de Nova commitment to describe demanding structural improvements and the training styles with the community. It says a whole process and through a lot of times and the persistence that was made in the described here, really creating and the helping out. And social dynamics of the community. A lot of people here paying attention. The kids stop, we go there, go back to. They go explaining their same thing. They pay attention to what is going on. Is very curious. And children's participation in the Batalha Nova. Really, everyone was early up the children who were playing in the field approached us and watched attentively and gives alternative in the circle. And three categories Hesitates in the affirmation of women in hyperbole. Fernanda emphasis her status as a model and also highlights the difficulties in this scenario as a woman with a masculine threat scenario. And gender conventions that create tensions and hip hop scene, notions of femininity and masculinity. It's very difficult for us to have a voice here, especially in the midst of battles. Here, the majority women and everyone is there. They have more voice, they have more courage, and I don't know, they feel more comfortable. Around young other men, we tend to be more withdrawn, but we go going through a process that we won't let go of anymore. So I joined the organization before I was just getting paying attention. No, now I want to put my voice in this. For category, dynamics of a territorial and local belonging in their communities. For Fernanda, her relationship of engagement with the community began with the battalion. I came into contact with the people, the roads, after I grew up and they started hanging out like on the street with the only time you really go out is to go into battle. Freeze mentions by Chapman his hometown in the defining place troubled his care. It's very powerful. It's why simply what we think we understand the world. It it was what made me open my eyes because I grew up in Baixada and I grew up with I love a lot of passion, with difficulties and driving always want to accept things and they are. So when I was a kid, I simply loved it and situation and accepting it. I never suffered it. I never felt sad about no having and to it. No, I was never that good of person, and I love praising it. I think it's having a little sad. I simply accept it. Oh, that is it. That is not won't be anything to it. Okay, I will play. No, and five category challenge restructuring and new perspectives. Uh, we really want to change the because the Batalha Nova has become a thing, right? Então a Batalha Nova estava virando um rolê para para o pessoal que organizava e participava. Um processo de reestruturação da sua batalha. MCP for choosing how you know timing is no longer a thing. It's really something that people want to get in hide away and show what they know how to do to grow, right? We really do it because they want to make a living from it, and the audience itself doesn't have this knowledge and the ends of dating and the way talking, Judith getting and the way and so on. MCs and the OP getting this motivation, understanding that why they're saying enough in right. It's banal, like it or not, with a read lost and lot of MCs because of this. Então, os MCs, eles não nunca desistiram por conta desse processo de a batalha virar um rolê. And challenge of hip hop culture in the state, no contexto do Estado. Sometimes there are shortage and it's no one person's fault. Is the world just fault? No. It's as I've been event relations out of this, but there are challenges because your reality is effective and live your future. Live your future. Whether you're organized and you see a graffiti artist or a DJ is very different. In your state, very different. And they point to a reformulation in the way him battles every organism. We're going to change the scene. The scene is going through the process of revolution. Revolution. Uh, Nova, Batalha Nova is starting really, is a revolution. The batalha, sim, nova, start really and mentally, to start really, it's revolution. The battles, swing, CG, Batalha de CJ, and giving food and drinking to put it in, it's revolution. So it's a contest where you are drawing inspiration from yourself. So it will change, the will change. We see how long it will take, but it will change. Eh, considerations. Uh, Understanding a batalha nova, the territorialism, sociocultural context, and musical practice, and social relations, technically, aesthetics, ethics, and everyday politics. É, o território, Praça de Nova, and for mediation of bonds and memories, advice for the formation and the affirmation of a periphery identity. And the habitual functions now not only as a space for artistic expression, but also as an environment from the formation and production of musical works created with its territory, with social political issues, and discussion and reinterpret. Local resistência through structural options, process de investimento, recobre circuito, próximas etapas, nesses steps, the training, the analysis, and the interweaving with the proposed literature.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you again for another impressive study. Is this project finished or still going on?
Esse projeto é acabado ou terminado já ou está ainda em progresso?
Quase terminando. Os dados são coletados e até o final do ano, mas todos os dados já estão coletados. Já uma análise final, né, acontecendo.
So this is almost ready. She's collected all the data, and now she's doing the writing up, and she's basically doing her PIVA or her defense on at the end of the year.
Yeah, you have a lot of data, right?
Yeah. Você tem muitos dados mesmo, né?
Sim, foram
Yeah.
3 entrevistas, os 3 interlocutores, e se tornou um adepto de entrevista, né, com os relatos, e tem muitos dados, sim, que as categorias elas sempre agigam de dados. 5 categorias. Essa discussão das 3 entrevistas, são bastante dados.
So she got so many material from the interviews that she got a whole handbook of interviews with these 3 participants, and so she picked up the categories, starting from drawing on the data basically, and yes.
Yeah, actually, that's my main question is from so much data, how did you come up with the 5 findings? What process did you go through from all your data to the 5 themes that you have?
Então, a partir dos dados que você tinha, né, como é que você chegou às 5 categorias que você encontrou? Qual foi o processo que te levou a isso?
Foi um entrelaçamento entre as entrevistas. Então, no próprio processo de análise do texto, né, das entrevistas, fui identificando questões em comum que eles traziam. Então, ia aparecer justamente por dados, não por dados de prazeres. Então, quando eles falavam da Praça do Nova, todos falavam da Praça do Nova em algum contexto, da área como espaço de formação musical, como espaço de formação política. Então, todos eles falaram, dentro das 3 categorias, e em algum momento traziam isso, tanto para dentro da formação deles, como entendendo o espaço da batalha muito importante. Então, foram das 3, uma interrupção entre as 3 entrevistas.
So she was analyzing the interviews, the data, and she was picking all the things that she found that they had in common. So, for example, this idea of the Nova Square as a place of resistance, and that she picked this also from the formation that they had, the education that they had, and also from the current struggle that they. So the idea was like looking at the interviews and finding what's in common with the 3, and then picking the categories from this.
Yeah. So how would you describe the approach of analysis?
Como você
Or is there a reference that suggests, oh, you should analyze it this way?
Oh, ok. So, como descreveria esse processo de análise? Tem referências para descrever isso ou faria assim?
Foram 2 instrumentos de categoria de análise, e inclusive utilizando uma plataforma, uma ferramenta de análise quantitativa, o Atlas CI, para conseguir cruzar essas entrevistas. Né? Mas a ideia era justamente, a partir das similaridades que eles estão trazendo, identificar a partir da narrativa deles mesmo, do texto, o que eles traziam como processo. Apesar de ter no roteiro, já tinham algumas indicações já tinham indicações da que a gente queria investigar, que eu propusia investigar, então, na formação musical, sociopolítica, dentro dos espaços da batalha. Então, o que eles trouxeram das indicações da entrevista sendo estruturada, eu construía já, mas foram construídas de fato a partir das similaridades que eles me trazeram na entrevista. Realmente, um cruzamento entre os três relatos e o que eles traziam em conjunto, para entender esse espaço.
So she's saying that she had a theoretical, analytical for qualitative research, which is the Atlas. Oh, Clara, how is it called? The Atlas she used?
Atlas TI.
TI.
Como um facilitador, na verdade, para construir categorias, cores, né? Um facilitador, mas também na perspectiva da análise de conteúdo, né? Então, a análise de conteúdo que vinha dessas entrevistas, como uma análise dos dados, né? De construção, na verdade, dessas categorias.
So this was just in order to facilitate the construction of interviews. And then she, however, she mainly kind of oriented oriented research, starting from the data that she got and then going to the categories. So it wasn't the other way around. So she found the content and then she tried to get to the kind of conclusions.
So what I'm trying to get at is whether you have used any kind of coding, because when you use LSTI, there may be some coding involved. Just wondering if you use any coding process.
Ele está perguntando se você utilizou algum processo de codificação, né? Se quando tem por exemplo, um Atlas TI, se você codificou alguns dos dados, né? So, in which sense coding?
Because using software like LSTI, it's helping you to code. Like what appears, you have to mark them down, you code. Yeah, and then eventually you may come up with maybe 70 codes, and then with these codes, you condense it like 5 themes.
So it's like exactly content analysis, like semantic analysis. Então, você fez esse trabalho sistemático de codificar alguns significantes que saíam e depois marcar eles com codes?
A partir eu fiz análise das 3 entrevistas e eu ia reconhecendo os pontos que mais se repetiam, né? Em cada entrevista. O MC Preto falava sobre o território, na praça do móvel, fui construindo até ver quais as informações que eles traziam, quais mais se repetiam. E eu percebi, tanto em cada entrevista, eu percebi que se repetia a Praça Nova como espaço significativo, mas também nos desafios, muitos desafios que os três falaram de formas diferentes. E a processo de codificação tanto das cores, então de definir cores para cada categoria e assim mais seletivo. Então, e depois fazer o cruzamento. Eu tinha entrevistas que eles falavam muito sobre alguma informação, mas ao fazer o cruzamento das 3, a Praça do Nova, a batalha com o espaço formativo musical, foram se sobressaindo e se constituindo, na verdade, em categorias mesmo. E emergiram direto da narrativa deles.
So she did use a form of coding, kind of marking what the signifiers that have to do with the Nova Square, challenges in their lives, and then the formative space of the square, and she then kind of compared all the data, and she used color coding also to distinguish specific semantic areas.
So, did you do anything to ensure the credibility of your results?
Então, você fez algum procedimento e alguns para, digamos, para assegurar a credibilidade dos seus resultados?
Você fala de aspectos éticos
Or in terms of ethics, in terms of content, or
in terms of content?
Não em termos éticos, mas em termos de conteúdo. Ou seja, que as coisas que você encontrou são relevantes em termos de conteúdo.
Sim. Tanto entendendo como na prática, como que na prática é validado. Tanto que eu muito da análise foi justamente da compreensão na prática deles e trazendo a literatura, traz o hip hop esse espaço formativo, musical, mas também de engajamento, entendendo como eles se engajam na atualidade, pensando nessa perspectiva, mas eu acho que validou das leituras, dos autores que eu trago, se validou as experiências que eu tive das observações de participantes, do registro, do diário, e todas as informações, elas traziam até a literatura que eu utilizo para pensar o hip hop como esse espaço de formação. Eu queria que seja mais ou menos nesse sentido.
So she backed it up with the literature in one sense, and in the other way with the kind of practical observation. So she was doing this double thing, literature and observation to back the data up.
Yeah, in English, that's what I call triangulation. I don't know whether there's a term, in Portuguese. Probably there is.
Triangulação.
Yeah, triangulation. And a similar question I want to ask is, did you have anyone else look at your data?
Então, essa se chama triangulação em inglês, também em português, né? A gente tem isso, né? Mas ele disse, alguém mais olhou os seus dados antes que você publicasse ou chegasse a escrever isso?
Já passei pelo processo de qualificação. Já estou na idade final, realmente. Mas já passei pelo processo de qualificação e até dos próprios dados, inclusive estamos com estamos agregando mais literatura, né, justamente para conseguir abarcar as necessidades do trabalho, a construção do hip hop mais atualizada, mais conectada com o movimento em si, já que é um movimento que é muito atual, né, constante, na verdade, atualidade, constante mudança. Mas foi pelo processo de qualificação e também como processo de validação das minhas estados culturais, né? E também com a investigação de outros olhares, né, sobre essa categoria, sobre a análise e a discussão que eu faço do caso. Né?
So she did the transfer exam or upgrade exam. How is it called in America? Because in Britain, like after 1 year, so before you defend, you do an upgrade, which is the same panel, like judging your work before, just a few months or some 1 year before. So she did that, and some people, some professors actually looked at her data and kind of validated it, I think. And now they go into the defense, so the Viva, and they are basically updating the literature because this is kind of changing kind of topic. So.
Yeah, when I asked that question, I was thinking about maybe having the 3 participants look at your results and see if your writing is reflective of what they want to express. So that's one way. That's why I asked if you have anyone else look at your results. That's one way. That's what we call member check. Is the people who participate. Maybe you interview them, they talk about something, and you write it down in the interview transcription. But after your analysis, when you write your report, maybe it is or it is not so true to what they try to say. So that's a checking. That's I sometimes suggest my students to use. And then another way is to look at the coding process, whether your coding is agreeable with other people, like other researchers. If you have a small segment of your data coded by another person, then you can compare that code with yours and then see if there's agreement. If you have agreement, then it will strengthen your results. So that's what I mean.
Ele estava entendendo 2 coisas em particular fora da questão da qualificação. Uma é mostrar todos os teus as tuas conclusões, né, para as pessoas que você entrevistou, os 3 participantes, para ver se de fato é isso, né? De fato, né? E que isso é um método de validação que se usa muito, ele recomenda justamente para os alunos dele, né? E a segunda coisa é talvez pegar outros pesquisadores e ver se eles codificavam as mesmas categorias a partir das entrevistas com você, né? Então, se isso fosse possível, isso validaria muito os teus dados, né?
Principalmente sobre como se fosse uma prestação de contas, na verdade, mostrar desenvolvimento do trabalho que vai para os doutores, né, os participantes, até como uma forma de mostrar que essa pesquisa é sobre eles, né, para eles, sobre eles. Desde do primeiro trabalho, que a gente tem enviado trabalhos para congressos, até toda a publicação, que são aprovadas, todas, na verdade, eu converso com eles, então eu levo isso como uma forma de prestação de contas mesmo, né? A pesquisa está sendo realizada, estou analisando dessa forma. Teve um dos trabalhos que eu enviei para o Fris, inclusive, ele gostou muito da discussão, teve curiosidade de entender, né, esses processos, mas vendo que a experiência prática que ele tem esse potencial mesmo, né, de formação inicial e até para se entender enquanto músicos, né? Então é um processo muito difícil para eles entenderem enquanto músicos, não só como artistas, ativistas, não só como tendo a réplica com a poesia, como uma denúncia, mas entendendo como artistas músicos, né, dentro desse espaço não se tem a música, né, uma forma de se agregar a esse espaço. E eles têm entendido um pouco disso, têm se compreendido dentro desse espaço. Mas eu tenho levado a eles tudo essa discussão e eles perguntam bastante. A gente tem trocado muitas essas vivências nos espaços da batalha mesmo. Eu pergunto muitas coisas, né, termos, os processos da batalha, coisas que eu tenho dúvida por não ser diretamente desse universo, né, não ser uma MC, mas também eles me perguntam muito como é que é esse universo. Então, temos uma acadêmica, então temos uma troca, não só, principalmente com o Freeze, com o MC Grito também, deles tentarem entender como é que esse tem curiosidade para entender esse universo acadêmico, mas também eu também pergunto muito, eles têm uma troca, muito mais próxima e foi construída ao longo, até após as entrevistas mesmo, foi se construindo essa relação mais aproximada entre eu e os participantes. Então, isso eu acho que sobre outros pesquisadores verem a importante coisa que a gente teve sempre dialogar, né, o próprio trabalho mesmo, até para ter um crescimento mesmo, né, tanto na literatura, tanto na questão dos projetos, refletir. Então, é um espaço aberto para essas contribuições.
So she's saying that basically she's constantly being showing off. Even before this work came to an end, basically she was publishing about the same data. So she was constantly kind of showing this to the three people that she interviewed, and sometimes the idea is that so they definitely like and recognize themselves in this, but they also kind of start identifying themselves as musicians because up until then they were identifying them as either activists, artists, or people who work with words and not with specifically with music. So this kind of got into also kind of a tool for them identifying themselves, and a tool which they agree with actually, and also they ask constantly questions to her as an academic. She asks questions as a person who doesn't have, who's not in the MC kind of hip hop kind of circle. So she asks terminology from them, and they ask terminology about her praxis as a researcher. So there is a constant exchange and dialogue. And she's also open to this work that you suggested in terms of exchanging data with other researchers. So she thinks this would be really useful.
Yeah, that's very good. No matter how you do to establish credibility of your findings, it is important to write down in your report. Sometimes in presentation, if you include this detail, it will strengthen your results.
Ok, então é importante sempre, digamos, ter esse processo de adquirir credibilidade, e quando tem essas trocas, é super importante que você bote isso nos seus resultados, né? Até você estava falando prestação de conta, é uma prestação de conta a mais, né? Acho que fica dentro para a credibilidade da isso, né?
Finally, I just want to commend you and other presenters. You're doing well in English. Keep trying, keep practicing, and you do well. Don't be afraid.
Ela está parabenizando você e os outros apresentadores para o inglês. A ideia também é que vocês continuem e não fiquem com medo, né, de falar. É isso.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all your presentations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Então, fechamos aqui.